Welcome to the second game of Name That Thing. We'll be identifying, grouping and classifying and using secondary sources to research today. So how this activity is going to work, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper or maybe a notes application and a phone so you can write down your answers. I'm going to show you different materials and objects around my house and you're going to say if it conducts electricity or insulates electricity. Remember that conduct means it lets electricity pass through, and for example a bulb might light. And if it insulates, it doesn't let electricity pass through. So that would be something to keep you safe from getting shocked by electricity. Object number one is a window. So I'm looking at the material here. Glass. Does glass conduct electricity or does it insulate electricity? Number two, a plant. Does a plant conduct electricity or does it insulate electricity? Number two is a plant. Number three, metal. Does metal conduct electricity or does it insulate? Number four, a fluffy teddy. Does the teddy conduct electricity or insulate? Number five, this is a tricky one. Water. Does water conduct or insulate electricity? Number six, a phone charger. Does it conduct or insulate electricity? How about the bit that I'm holding here, this rubbery plasticky bit around it? Number seven is a bulb. Does it conduct or insulate electricity? And which part would conduct the electricity? Which part wouldn't? Number eight is my plastic highlighters. These are plastic. Do they conduct or insulate electricity? Number nine, rubber. Does rubber conduct or insulate electricity? Number 10 is leather. So this is the strap of my watch. Leather. Does leather conduct or insulate electricity? Number 11 is a really tricky one for you. A guitar. Does it conduct or insulate electricity? We've got here an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, an electric bass, and an acoustic ukulele. But which parts actually conduct electricity? This is super tricky. Number 12 is wood or bark. This is sandalwood, and I've got it because it smells beautiful. But I want to know, does wood or bark off of a tree conduct or insulate electricity? Number 13 is hand sanitizer. Does hand sanitizer conduct or insulate electricity? Object 14 is humans. Do humans conduct or insulate electricity? And finally, object number 15 is a book or paper. Does paper conduct or insulate electricity? So that's it. Those are your 15 objects and materials that I would like you to say if they conduct or insulate electricity. I suggest you make a table like I've done here with the objects and materials down the left-hand side, and then on the right, you can say whether you think it conducts or insulates electricity. You could write the word out in full, or you could do a C or an I, or you could do a mixture of both, because some of the things I showed you had different components that some would conduct and some would insulate. There are a couple of asterisks there as well, which I'll talk about in a second. So your task is, number one, to predict and give a reason why you think, say for example, I predict that the bulb, number 7, conducts electricity because I know from my science lessons that bulbs need electricity to light. That's a really good prediction and reason. Number 2, you're going to research using secondary sources. So you're going to use the internet and you're going to find out if you are correct or not. Now, a couple of asterisks here. Number 5, water. I want you to research pure water, tap water and seawater, and think about the differences between how they conduct or insulate electricity. And that was a really interesting one, but it's super tricky. My other super tricky one for you was number 11, wasn't it? With the guitar, the electric guitar. I want you to find out if the electricity travels along the strings that you play with your fingers and if that would be safe or not. So when you've predicted and then you've researched, I'd like you to create me a poster informing children on how to be safe around electricity, with all that you've known and all that you have researched today as well. If you're in my class, you can email me any of this, any pictures of work or anything you were correct about or inspired by or surprised by. And if you are not in my class, then you can @ me.